Everything is fine here on Detention Block AA23, a Star Wars podcast. I'm Mike, joined by Dustin, aka Turd Ferguson over here, and here to talk Star Wars specifically.
Are we talking Star Wars though?
Yeah, to some people.
Well, hey, again, we don't yuck people's yum, but we
No,
are talking
no.
about something with the Star Wars label on it.
Yes, it's got the branding of Star Wars on it. So I'm just gonna put the spoiler tag right away. We're gonna be talking about the last two episodes. So episode 6, Teach Corrupt, and episode 7, Choice. 4th of July holiday, people traveling. We weren't able to record last week, so we get to double up today. And I'm just gonna start out with this, Dustin. I have a confession to make, and this might be a little shocking.
You liked
And,
episode 6?
and it's 100% true. I know it's going to be hard to believe, but I am actually excited to see episode 8. I really am. I'm truly excited to see episode 8 because I have no fucking clue how they're going to land this plane. um
It's like Airplane.
it's like Airplane. No, I mean, it's like an accent. You can't look away. I mean, to me, and again, like what Dustin said, we don't want to yuck anyone's yum. If you're enjoying this, that's awesome. All the power to you.
We're not calling you out.
No,
Calling you stupid or anything.
no, we just disagree with you. And it's okay to disagree. We are not enjoying this show, and that's totally fine.
There's
But
something to be said about enjoying the camaraderie that you have with other people who also don't enjoy the show.
yeah,
But in the same vein, they're not like chastising people or being, venomous or anything.
right.
Just, misery does love its company.
That is true. But like to me, this is just I think I sent you in a text earlier. It's like a plane that's like almost destroyed, on fire, fully engulfed in flames, descending onto a landing strip. And you're watching it and you're like, okay, how is this thing going to land? It's probably not. It's probably just going to go once it hits the ground. But you're going to watch that if you're witnessing it. So,
Yeah, well, all my friends that watch Star Wars or text me like, "What the fuck is this?"
well, I mean, obviously they didn't plan on episode 3 getting such low reviews. But then episode 7
Power one.
but
You
then
don't
it
think
just
I was gonna get like weird reactions from people? Come on.
but like so before episode 7 that had like the lowest rating, and that was probably the least favorite of all the episodes by people. And then it happens to be the episode that they essentially duplicate and show you all over again, just from a different perspective, the perspective of the Jedi. And
So because we're 2 weeks behind, I really want to focus on episode 7 as a discussion point. Episode 6, there really wasn't much that happened, right? Like,
and I thought that one was okay. I thought that episode was okay.
I thought it was okay too. It was whatever. I did find it a little weird. Those little creatures, like the little cute little things. They were like little dicks on there. And you see that one of them, they were playing swords. I think that was on purpose.
Sabers.
No, they were playing swords. Oh, well, yeah. Well, they were vibro blades or whatever.
Yeah. I still think there are many things that are kind of lore breaking about that episode, and I know there wasn't much action, but you don't always need action. I just thought that was finally an episode where you were kind of getting some like character development from certain characters, and you were getting a little bit deeper into behind what's all going on. It was a little more meaty, in my opinion. It's still like
I can't they have to stop showing Vanestra. Like,
yeah,
her makeup is so bad. Every time she's on screen, it takes me out of the entire.
when she has the same look on her face every time, it's
Yeah, and dude, like I remember, she's just like indiscriminately killing bugs just so they could show off the lightsaber whip, you know. And
yep.
okay, and then that one Jedi or whatever Padawan, like what a terrible miscast person. The one with like the accent.
Yeah.
He
Well, I
was
mean, I won't say anything about that. That doesn't bother me. I mean, anyone can, you know, nothing against that person by any means, but I mean, it's just another person, so I'm fine with that.
so anyway, just there's just so many like plot holes and weird decisions characters make on a dime. You know,
Yeah.
oh, she's like, "Ah, you'll never get me to turn the dark side. I'm gonna put on this helmet."
You just watched him like murder your friends, like a bunch
And
of
the
them.
second he takes his shirt off, you got a lady boner for him.
And they vividly had her look down. I don't know if you noticed that. Like
Yeah.
her eyes literally went down, like she was staring at his junk.
And he did that on purpose too. So
Yeah.
just weird, man. Like just like
I mean, the
just
sexualization of characters is not, in my opinion, a part of Star Wars. That's it. And I mean, Disney's done it a few times. You
romantic
have
thing.
Kylo Ren with his shirt off. Now you've got this guy, or I guess it's Kymer. It's not Keemer. It's Kymer. Is fully nude, and he knew she was there the whole time.
Yeah, he knew like what he was doing. After I kill all those Jedi, what I really need is a good bath.
But I thought it was cool. Like there was a reference to like the rule of two. Um, so that makes me a little curious of who his master was. And did he or specifically say that he was not a Jedi?
No, he said he was a Jedi.
So he was a Jedi.
Yeah,
Because I thought he said he wasn't a Jedi.
like so he says things like, "Well, I was a Jedi very long ago."
Mm,
What does that mean? Like, but and they don't ever explain it. And how? I mean, they're gonna have to fit so much shit in episode 8. And you know what they're gonna do is, they thought it was a slam dunk. They're gonna get a season 2, so they're gonna leave a bunch of cliffhangers that are
yep.
gonna be completely unsatisfying, and they might not get a season 2 because, quite frankly, the show's not good and it doesn't deserve season 2. And I wouldn't be mad. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad. It's this
No.
show's so bad that if they decide not to renew it and there are those bunch of cliffhangers, I'll just be like, whatever, man. Like, we didn't need to know this shit anyway.
Can I just remind everyone too that it was $180 million for this, which is 10 million short of what Dune 2 was.
But so my thing, because I've spent the last 24 hours just kind of watching like short videos of similar people like us, doing podcasts and YouTube shows. And, you know, a lot of them do slant the way we feel. And that's probably on purpose, right? In the sense that I seek those out. They're part of my algorithm, all that good stuff. And not, a lot of them are pretty fair, you know. But then people are like, well, that 180 was choreography and blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, but look at Vanessa's makeup. Look at the set designs on some of the stuff. Like, I do want to say some positive things about the show. Like the lightsaber battles and fights are excellent.
Yeah.
Like the choreography there is incredible. But that's about all I got good to say about the show. There's just so much weird dialogue. There's so much poor character development, poor character decisions. Like, not like everyone in the show is making bad decisions. Everyone, right? Like, even Indara, she's like, hey, and I know we're gonna be kind of probably like bouncing around a little bit. Like in episode 7, she's like, hey, I don't want you guys going in here. You're gonna antagonize these witches, and it's just gonna cause chaos. And then the guy's like, well, there's 50 of them and 2 children. First of all, there weren't 50. Who the fuck is counting? There's not anywhere close to, right? Second of all, okay, like she knew that she was outnumbered by a lot. So why did it like and again, there weren't 50 of them. There were nowhere close to 50. Never ever did we see anything close to 50 of them.
Right.
Right. And so, but then she immediately changes her mind. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, let's all go in. And then, of course, shit goes down.
Yeah, I think I mean the short run times are really impacting that because it's not really allowing any time for
I saw I saw a post
development.
by like some discussing film, some clickbait, like they're called like reaction, like they just want people to comment and stuff.
Right.
Um, but they said, oh, the runtime for episode 7 and 8 is 43 minutes. No, it's not. It's 37 minutes because 6 of the shit is I literally stopped.
Credits and intro.
Well, so it's even less than that if you think about it. It's probably 35 minutes
Yeah.
or yeah, because I stopped at 37. So like right as the end credits happened, I stopped it. It's at 37 minutes. So it's not 43 minutes at all. Like it's 35. And then the other episode's like 27 minutes, right? So
So you spared yourself from the ending credit song.
I know, and I've seen so much about that, and I'm just really glad I didn't listen to it or anything. Like I don't have FOMO at all. I just like, well, dodge the bullet.
Modern hip hop song in Star Wars. It's like, when have we ever seen that before? I mean, if Leslie Headland's objective was to make something completely different, she succeeded because, man, this
I
just,
know. I think there is a lot to be said about she was probably doing a lot of this purposefully.
well, I mean, the problem is she had an idea of a story to make before she even thought or knew she was going to be doing a Star Wars film. So the Star Wars story didn't come first. It was the story she wanted to portray or tell came first, and then she adapted it into a Star Wars world. It should always be, when it comes to Star Wars or any major franchise, it should always be about the Star Wars story first, and then anything else you want to implement comes subsequent.
So this is like going on a little tangent, and we haven't seen the finished product yet at all. But like one thing I'm really excited about with Alien Romulus, the new Alien film coming out in August, is it seems like the director Fede Alvarez has like a really like big passion for the source material, right? And wants to do right by it. And then when you see the trailers, you can see that shine through the trailers. Now,
Mm,
again, the trailer, right? I mean, a lot of it's designed to get you interested in things like that. So you never know what the end product is going to officially be, but I'm excited for that. And I think that's going to shine through. Like you said, build build a movie in the Alien universe and then design your script around that.
yep,
So,
always.
uh, yeah, I mean, again, going, I guess, talking about episode 6, you know, the weird, the island that everyone thinks is the one from Last Jedi, which probably isn't. Um, I forget the
I'm
name.
still wondering. I'm still it can't, part of me says it can't be it, but then part of me is like, well, I mean, it does look a lot similar, and those witches were by like a big hole, kind of doing their chanting, and there's that big hole in what was it, The Last Jedi, that Rey like falls into.
Yeah, but they're not on the same planet.
It just said unknown planet, so it could, I mean, it could be unknown at this point, and then it turns out to be Octo. I don't think it is because there were ancient Jedi
I'm just saying the
texts.
witches aren't on that planet either. They're on
Oh, so I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
anyway, you have the whole will they, won't they thing going on in episode 6. You have the Venestra storyline.
The Parent Trap where they swap spots. And
It's just, of course, like they're painting it now. Of course, they're painting it out to, be Soul's the bad guy. He's, a rogue Jedi, which I mean, he's a shitty Jedi, right? Like all
well,
around.
yeah. After watching episode 7, they're all shitty Jedi. But yeah,
So I don't know. That's really all I got to say about episode 6. It's a filler episode, and it does some explaining and pushing some um, plot points, but episode 7 is really what I want to focus on because it's probably the most recent thing on my mind.
I just want to say though, how did May not think that Soul was not going to see, figure out it's her, especially when you have this huge tattoo on your forehead, like.
But also, like she
And
only
I'm glad that well, first of all, I'm glad that they established that Soul knew the whole time, because I was going to be like, okay, how did you not know that was not her?
when did they establish that? Because I didn't get that from the episode.
Well, he stunned her as she was about to report in. So the High Council was, or whoever, their aide, so it could have been Venestra, was calling in, asking for their coordinates or whatever. And May answers, and they're like, "Who is this?" And she's about to say, and then he like stuns her, and she falls, and she's like, "Oh, May," like, something along the lines of how'd you not know I couldn't figure it was you? So
Here's another thing that was weird. What the like the whole Basil creeping around the ship,
yeah,
creeping on like you could have just went and told Soul if something weird's up with this gal.
yeah.
And he's like trying to hump her leg.
Factory reset for a droid.
Yeah. So I don't, episode 6 is filler. It is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can move on to episode 7. We're not going to break it down because I mean it's just episode 3
Breaks
all over
itself.
again. Except, like I said, it's just from the Jedi's point of view this time instead of the
Okay,
witch
cool.
coven.
I just want to say this. Okay. In episode 6, you do have the setup point where Soul is basically like, listen, bitch, you're going to listen to my story, whether you like it or not. Which she wanted to listen to the story. They both did. So that's a weird piece of dialogue.
Yeah.
But they could have set it up like he's sitting next to her on the bed telling her the story. Right? That could have been the beginning of episode 7. Instead, they just go right into it. Like there's no setup at all. It's just, oh, flashback, you know?
Were
And
they
I,
16 years earlier or something like that?
like I know you don't need to be necessarily spoon fed that this is a flashback, but in the episode you just set it up that that's how you could have started this episode, and then they just don't do that. They just go into it. Dude, what the fuck were the Jedi doing with metal detectors and a little like thing that he's like shoving grass into? Like,
Searching, looking for signs of life when all those things have, their life anyways. So, yeah, $180 million. And what are we using? We're using a metal detector as a prop.
dude, seriously. And they keep doing this. They just like give you like these little nuggets of the books. They talk about the great hyperspace disaster. Whoa,
Yep.
no one thought there was life on here for hundreds of years due to a hyperspace disaster. Which I mean, dude, like if they ever bring the Hill into live action, they're going to be such a good bad guy. They're
Yeah. Well, that's what they should have done. They should have played off the books more than whatever this crap was. We've just invested all this time in reading these books from the High Republic.
they do literally the bare minimum to even
Yeah,
let you know that this is in the same universe as the High Republic.
barely anything. You got that hyperspace disaster. You have Vanessa Rowe in it. And then I feel like there was one other thing that was connecting it, but yeah, literally the
one
bare
thing,
minimum.
there's been a couple things here or there, but the other one was like him mentioning how queasy she gets, during hyperspace travel.
That was unnecessary.
It was just weird how they did it. But you might get sick, you might get nauseous. Do this bags on planes, right? Like get over it. I just find it
And she still had her same expression as she has every time she's on
well,
screen.
talk about it's funny there's talk about nepotism and things like that. Well, that's Leslie Headland's wife.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I mean, just completely, just so dumb.
Can we go back to your comment about them searching for life?
Yeah.
didn't they establish in it that where the witches actually were part of an old mining building? And isn't this building like a huge freaking mountain with a fortress on top? And it has like this huge like power generator that's functioning. Don't you think they have the technology that they could detect this kind of shit from outer space? Like, why are they searching with metal detectors and putting moss in buckets searching for it when you probably already know or should know where this is? Like, wouldn't this be the first place you checked? At least one of the first places you checked? Like,
Dude,
what are you doing?
it could be the biggest homage to Spaceballs, though. Home the planet.
Yeah. It
I mean,
just doesn't make sense. It's poor writing. That's what this all comes back to. It's
Spaceballs
just
2, Spaceballs 2 wouldn't even touch this show because they'd be like, it's not even worth our time to touch
they already did it for themselves.
yeah, the show makes fun of itself.
I can't wait for what's the clips you always send to me that reviews stuff, honest trailers.
Honest.
Oh my god.
Again, I mean, like, do they even need to do anything? Like, it's
No.
this is my worry. We come out with this. We're talking about Wednesday night. It'll get released Thursday morning. But like, there's been so many. I mean, now my YouTube algorithm is just blasting me with reviews of this episode, this season. I feel like we're a little bit late to the party, but hopefully we can bring some different ideas. I think we are going to be very similar to what's out there. I mean, the overall theme is, yeah, this show is terrible and this episode is a cherry on the shit fucking pie, but just yeah, I mean that is so lazy. I mean, like, the director of, and again, the director of this episode is the same as episode 3, and she, or I don't know if it's he or she, just one name. I forget the name.
Yeah, I'm spacing on it too.
But why? I mean, they must have looked at the camera, look back at the crew and like, of
Well, I think
course, dude. Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you did not need to replay this whole episode over again. Like, this is something you could have condensed into, like, maybe you can still do a flashback, but just condense the differences. We don't need to see the same things over and over again. You only have 8 episodes, and each episode is, we'll say on average, 35 to 40 minutes long. And that's being graceful. That's including credits and everything. Like, we don't have time to revisit stuff we already have seen. Like, build on it. And I don't know. It makes me feel like I didn't need to watch the episode and I could still get the same outcome by just skipping episode 7 and watching episode 8.
Again, complete absolute waste of resources. But hey, it's given us a lot of fun things to talk about. Like how fucking whiny, whatever the dude's name is, Tormund or Trollan.
Torben.
How absolutely I want to go home. I go home, Coruscant. I feel like what we're doing is important. Well, of course it doesn't seem like it's important. You're putting grass into a fucking machine.
Searching for a virgins.
Yeah, of course. And that's come up before in Star Wars. Did you know that?
Phantom Menace. Yeah. Qui-Gon. They've discovered a virgins in the Force.
Which again, I mean, it's punching Star Wars lore right into the cooch.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, why are we making the Jedi bad guys? That's not. I mean, they were lying to the High Council. They're going to continue. They're going to withhold this information, and they're like, it's like selfishness in every aspect of the way. Like, oh, so I sense that she's supposed to be my Padawan.
Oh, and so many things to say about that in particular.
Go ahead.
So this fucking dude, right, is creeping on these women, right? It feels like human trafficking, right? Like in our world today. He discovers these twin girls. Of course, he saw that they had force powers, which again, recycled scene, pretty
Yeah.
much from his perspective. And he follows them, and he sneaks into just randomly rock climbs. Apparently, he's like, an expert rock climber. We've never seen really a Jedi do that, right? So he goes out and scales this, however many, scales this giant wall. And then I don't know how long, maybe he spends 2 hours in this facility spying on things, right? So, so a couple things. He goes back and he automatically like, oh, those girls are in danger. What? How would you ever know that? Like, and here's the thing. This is the part where the writing is terrible and the storytelling is terrible. Like maybe they could have convinced you that he saw enough where he's thinking, yeah, these girls' lives are in danger. But they didn't show that. All they showed was like they're training for a little bit, which the Jedi do that. Like the Jedi, like, like when Luke was training, he's getting shot by like I mean, like there's some physical violence that occurs like towards the Padawans.
Yep.
So, like that's not convincing to have Soul think, oh, I gotta save these women. And then another thing, oh, they're about to perform a ritual tonight. You've never met these witches before once. And you just know right away that they're about to perform a ritual based on what? That they were chanting? That could have been like their morning prayer. Like, it is so unbelievable to me that he would go back and just like know the culture of the witches that quickly to say, oh yeah, they're about to do a ritual.
I feel like there was some hidden messages from the creator on that one.
What's that?
Um, Judging and judging kind of in a negative way people before you get to know them, like whether it's groups or individuals. And that's why I'm saying like there is this message that wanted to be created in a story before the idea of Star Wars um became the vehicle for that message. And that's why, like, again, Star Wars franchise needs to be first and then your message second. And when you do it the other way around, this is what happens. But anyways, uh, go on with what you were saying.
Well, just he sneaks around. He sees 10 minutes of, again, this is what the show is showing you. So this is
Yep.
all really, delve or glean from it. Goes back to Ndara. Oh, we gotta save these girls. What? Right? And then, Ndara's like, no, like we don't know what's going on there. She's right, of course. Lo and behold. And then, like, I think what, right at that moment, they get the midichlorian or the M count
Yep.
back. Oh, it's really high. And then fucking Torvin, oh shit, oh, let's get me off the planet. I'm gonna go to speeder. Makes no sense, dude. It is literally the most like just random decision ever. Just no setup, no. I mean, like, okay, you get the one like, oh, he's homesick. He wants to go back to Coruscant. So dumb. And of course, Soul. Oh, they gotta follow you.
Well, it just doesn't seem like what the Jedi do, because the Jedi they don't interfere with cultures. Like they don't try to change cultures or judge them and, take their kids away. They're more about a balance, a piece along the lines of the Force. Um, it seemed totally out of left field. It was like we want to paint the Jedi as bad guys. Now there's a difference between being like incompetent, or how do you like to paint the Jedi sometimes, like oblivious.
Bumbling idiots.
Yeah, they can be bumbling idiots, but they're pure good. Their intentions are always good. They're not selfish. Otherwise, that's not what makes a Jedi. Um, so it's changing the lore in that. And I don't know, I just thought of that scene where the mother like turns into like a vaporized specter. What was she thinking she was going to accomplish right there?
Dude. And then like I didn't notice this during the episode, but like she was starting to disintegrate at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
So Soul sees that.
Like
I'm gonna fucking stab this bitch.
yeah. Well, and it's
And what does she say? It's so this is someone else said this. It's the most gaslighty bullshit ever, where she's like, I would have let you take Osha. Why don't you start with that information? Hey, it's all come down. We made the decision. I'm gonna let you take Osha. Boom. Done.
it could have been handled so much better. Like, and I mean, I think anyone in that situation of Saul would do something similar. You would think something bad is about to happen, and you would defend in that regard.
So
And
I just also want to point out that everything that happens in this episode makes everything else in the show worse,
yeah,
because now I don't believe at all that the Jedi are like scarred by this. Like, Torben taking the poison. What are you fucking talking? What does he have to be scarred by?
nothing. What is the Wookiee? What did he do? He got possessed. He wasn't in control of himself. He's not guilty in that. What did Soul do? He defended him, thinking this person or this mother was about to kill the child, and he steps in, kills her. No one, I still don't know who technically killed the group of witches.
Oh, dude, that
Did they
whole
kill
thing
themselves or did
where like she's calming, she's
yeah.
as far as like basically breaking Kanaka's trance.
Yeah, but was
And
Kilnaka in that possessive state because of the group of witches, or was it because Coral or whatever disintegrated? I thought she disintegrated and possessed him. So what are these group of witches doing? Like, nothing is being established in this setting. Like, I have no idea what the hell is going on. And none of it makes sense. And Soul thought that was Osha. I thought you had this like connection with Osha that you've felt from the get-go. Well, you're wrong there. I mean, and I know they mentioned it's something about it's actually the same embodiment of the Force, just in two different bodies. Because like their midichlorians and everything were exactly the same, and even twins don't have that representation. So I know there's something funky there, but I don't know. He was able to separate Osha in one point, but now he can't. And even in the episode before, he was able to distinguish that was Osha. How did he not know it wasn't Osha in episode 7?
Here's another thing that's bonkers to me. Absolute bonkers. Absolute bonkers. And again, not necessarily on the actresses, right? The young girls, right? So, you had the scene in episode 3 where you see May, oh, I'm not going to let you leave. I'd rather you be dead. Well, now you see she's got the lantern. She lights the book on fire and then looks shocked that it is on fire.
Oh.
Then bumblingly drops the lantern and then somehow catches this fortress of stone all on fire, because apparently someone poured gas on it, right? Because I mean, I don't see any wood. I don't see anything that's like severely flammable.
Just electrical.
And then somehow that like causes like the whole fortress to blow up. Right?
Yeah. Doesn't make sense.
And again, if there's better writing in the show, and this is the theme of every video I saw, it's not, I mean, like, sure, like the basic plot line is kind of shitty to begin with, but because the writing is so bad and so haphazard, it just turns the show into a parody.
Yeah. And that's how we started. Like, it's so bad, it's entertaining in a way.
I mean, I was excited to watch the episode because my friend texted me. He's like, "Did you see that garbage?" I'm like, "Oh, I know this is going to be bad." Because I mean, my friend's not critical, you know. And so anyway,
The show is uniting many fans under the wrong pretenses.
I mean that is true, you know. And it is funny because I'm starting to see. You're starting to see people call out bot accounts for really what they are on some of the Facebook and Twitter posts because you can see like there's like some pretty clear positive feedback that's happening from bots. I'm sure there's negative.
It's both. So the best way to do it is just eliminate 1 in 10 or 0 in 10 and look at the middle. Now, there's still probably more actual votes for 0 than 10, but still results will be a little bit skewed. But in my opinion, how the reviews have come out, bots aside, or bombing, or what do they call it? Rate bombing, review bombing. I think it's still predominantly negative. But yeah, I lost my train of thought there. But
I'm just okay. But here's the thing: we did not, and I've said this a million times. We did not go into the show wanting to hate it. Like we wanted to like this show. By the way, the show's called The Acolyte. We've spent almost zero time really talking about an acolyte, right? Like there's been like 4 or 5 mentions of it. So like the weird scene when Torben got taken over, like the very sexual connotations there, which were just kind of, again, how does that scar him for life? Where he goes into a trance for 10 years,
and then commits suicide by drinking poison.
Yeah, it's like just and then again, all the shit goes down. Just another just incomprehensible writing flaw. So Soul goes to save the girls. They're on.
I know what you're gonna say.
They're on a bridge, and this is what everyone's saying. So I'm not saying anything that hasn't been said already.
Right.
It needs to be said again because the writing is so fucking bad. They're on a bridge. You have a Jedi Master. This fucking moron is trying to hold up the bridges instead of the very much lighter weight girls. And then he gives up like a fucking pansy and lets one of them die, in his opinion or in his mind.
Wouldn't it be it's more of a struggle to hold up those freaking ends of the bridge than it would just to grab them and bring them to him?
But that's exactly, what everyone's saying. Like, I mean, did the writers not think about this?
They clearly didn't. I don't think they cared.
But here's they didn't like too. Like you have a show, right? And I don't know how the sausage is made. But I can only imagine you have a show and you have these writers, and they go in a room and then they create a script, and then somebody must have to like go through that script and say, yeah, okay, maybe we should change that. I'm sure there's like some budgetary constraints and political things. And someone says, why is he trying to hold up the bridge instead of the 40-pound girls? That seems weird. Maybe we should change that because it seems like the audience would catch on like pretty quick that's ridiculous. Okay, so and then he saves Osha, and then May falls. Then the fucking place blows up and blah blah blah, and then there's just the weird shit that happens on the ship at the end, where Indara is basically, well, we need to report this to the council, but no, we don't. We don't need to report everything to the council.
Well, and Soul is the one that says he needs to speak to the High Council about this, right?
Yeah.
And then she's the one that
convinces. Like, how could you do that to Osha? Like you didn't think she was gonna figure out the truth eventually? That's not worse. It's just it's incomprehensibly illogical, which is why people are like, this is dumb. This is a bad show.
Do you think they would ever potentially decanonize this?
Well, I mean, it's not without precedent to have a fan base change things. For instance, like the Snyder Cut,
Yeah.
Justice League, right? Comes to mind. I don't know, man. I just
In my mind, I'm just going to decanonize it. I'm going to put this in its own realm.
yeah, I'm not gonna think about it much.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, if this show gets canceled, like that one Donald Glover meme, good. Like, we don't need any more of this.
No. Um. Yeah, hell no. I don't want a season 2. Even if we did have a season 2, I mean, we'd get to have these talks again, and it has been
I don't want
kind
to
of
have this.
entertaining.
I don't want to have these talks. I want good content.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
Right? I mean, dude, this makes the Book of Boba Fett look like fucking Empire Strikes.
Makes it look like Star Wars. But I mean, Book
I
of
would
Boba gets a lot of hate. Like, there are some good episodes in that show. There are some
yeah,
bad episodes in that show, but there are some good episodes.
I would take Obi-Wan sneaking Leia out in a trench coat a million times over whatever this shit is.
Yeah.
And that was one of the most ridiculous scenes I've ever seen in Star Wars.
Yeah. That and the Vespa chase.
Like, at least in that scene, you're like in the Inquisitor base and there's like kind of some cool shit going on around, you know?
Well, and you can understand you can understand the motive behind it. Like, obviously, we're trying to sneak these people out, or this girl out. In this show, it's like, I don't understand the motive. It jumps back and forth so much that you don't know where you're standing at any point. And now, like, I know we have one episode left, and obviously we have a lot to unwrap. But I would imagine we're going to see what happens to May when she falls. How does she survive? Probably see.
Yeah, like, can we just assume, like, I hope they don't show that. Well, I'm sure they will. I'm 100% sure they will.
And what happens with Coral, because I don't think she's dead yet. I don't know.
Being uh, the master puppeteer behind what's his name?
Keimer.
Yeah, Keimer now.
Yeah, we've got to reveal that. We've got to have another encounter with Keimer. And
by the way, that bitch just fled. You kidding me? She's like the mother, and she's just bye.
Well, that's what I'm not sure about, because I thought she was the one that was possessing Kilnaka, similar to how Mother Analasia or whatever possessed Torben.
So again, we've said this. They do such a poor job with scene construction that you have no idea how that exactly was going down.
Did you see I don't know if it was the Star Wars Twitter or something, had to come out and explain that scene. Anytime your
You have to
movie
explain a joke. It's not a good joke.
Yeah. If you have the movie or the production company coming out and explaining a scene like within 24 hours of it being released, that's problematic. Like, that in itself is showing how poorly it was written. I shouldn't be questioning what just happened in this episode in that way. I mean, you can have, like, hidden mysteries and stuff like that, which wasn't this supposed to be like a murder mystery?
I don't know what the show is supposed to be anymore.
Like, it wasn't really a reveal in episode 7 because we already knew that. And I mean, I think some people were already like speculating who actually did the wrong. And with the way Soul is acting, you were getting the indication, okay, the Jedi probably did something. So again, we don't need this whole episode showing what the Jedi did wrong. I don't know.
I mean, trespassing, that probably was, you know, I
And
do
again,
like, I mean, these witches did have a right to be like, what the fuck? You just walked into our coven for no reason.
when it's just another situation where like a majority of the fan theories were so much better than what we had. Like thinking about, when they didn't show all the um witches dying, it's like, oh, okay, well maybe this is that, dark force in the shadows, playing puppet master over here, tipping the scales a little bit, making it appear like the Jedi did something wrong. No, the Jedi just did something wrong. It's like, where's the creativity in this? Where's the sophistication in this? It just literally what we were watching was what we were getting. And that's not
I
good.
could have just used that metal detector better. This would have never happened.
Man. Jedi using metal detectors to search for life in a planet that's just full of life because it's a freaking forest or whatever.
They got they got fucking lightsabers and blasters
They have
and
the force,
light speed ships, and that's what
radars. You can jump through hyperspace, but you
there's
can't.
really no explanation that your showrunner could come up with to redeem that.
You can't. I don't know. It's, but like I said, I can't wait to see how they're gonna land this plane. It's gonna be something,
I don't think
and it's
I
gonna
don't
be
think Sully's
unfinished.
involved.
What's that?
I don't think Sully's involved in this one.
No. Oh man, it's gonna be great though. It's gonna be great. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to Tuesday just for this, and just our conversation that's gonna be following. It's gonna be
Again,
awesome.
but you juxtapose the Acolyte with all of the amazing shows that are out right now. The Boys, The Bear,
House of Dragons.
House of Dragons. Like, I mean, like you could do all the things that maybe Leslie Headland wanted to do, which is have some political discourse, have some. I mean, like The Boys is clearly political discourse,
Yeah.
right? Like clearly, and a lot of it probably goes against a lot of people's beliefs, right? In real life.
But isn't that an original work? Like I haven't seen The Boys, but isn't that like made up superheroes?
Okay, if you haven't seen The Boys, you should, for one. For two, no, not really. Like the superheroes are little ripoffs of Batman, Superman.
Right, they're ripoffs, but they're not actually the Batman like
Right.
canon and everything.
Yeah.
Like
No,
if
no. It's a
if
completely different universe.
exactly. So if Headland wants to make a show like a space odyssey show that's kind of like a parody of Star Wars, then do it that way. Do not take the franchise branding of Star Wars and do this. There's better ways to do this.
What I'm trying to say is like there's some heavy political discourse in The Boys, and they do it the right way, and it lands properly, and it feels organic. And this just feels like crabs. Very
Just
itchy.
crabs.
Yeah, very itchy.
I don't know how that feels, so I am not.
Not that I know.
But yeah, I mean, and I kind of like Rings of Power. It grows on me a little bit more, but I know that wasn't received too well at the beginning. But like, that show is 10 times better than this show.
Okay, that is true. I'll give you that. It still sucks though. Like, and I only say that because I read the books. But seriously though, like the the source material is good. Just follow the source material. They don't, and it just goes off.
I don't think they could though, right? Because they don't have the rights to it.
What?
Don't they not have all the rights to Tolkien's works?
Look, I don't know. That would be dumb. I would feel like you would want to secure those rights before you get into the source material itself.
No, they've given certain permissions, but not on everything.
I don't know that. So that would be I should do my research. But yeah, I mean again, Rings of Power is a million times better than this fucking hot garbage.
I can't wait to watch House of Dragons. I want to watch that first.
Oh my god. Dude. Oh, holy mother of mackerel.
Good.
What an amazing show.
Okay.
This last episode, episode 4,
Everyone's talking about it. I've seen a lot of buzz about it. I haven't seen specifics, but
it is incredible.
I can't wait to watch it. How many episodes is it in? Oh, I know it's season 2.
Oh, 4. Have you not seen any of it?
Mm-mm.
So there's 8 episodes per season, I think. 8, they're hour-long episodes.
Right.
And so, again, dude,
Oh, weird. Give an episode the time that it needs. And it probably costs less to make that show than this show.
Yeah, dude. And what else is there to say, man? This is just,
It speaks for itself.
it's not a good show. I don't care if it's Star Wars or anything. Like, it's just,
And again, if you like it, this is no knock on you. Like, all the power to you. I'm glad you find enjoyment in it. It's just not for us. And that's how, like, I like a lot of Star Wars stuff, I would say. I'm usually pretty positive and optimistic about Star Wars shows.
we love Solo. There's a lot of people that don't like Solo.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. That was an entertaining movie. So underrated. But yeah, I don't want to keep beating the dead horse here. We've said our piece with it. One more to go. Hopefully only one more to go. And I know Skeleton Crew comes out in December, so now I'm just nervous about that show. I'm nervous in general for what's going to happen with
Outlaws.
Yeah, Outlaws. Which,
they're like, oh yeah, you can get through an entire map in 5 minutes on a speeder. That doesn't sound great. Like that doesn't sound open world.
No, it doesn't. I feel like that's the size of the maps from like Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just like one little like tidbit.
Yeah, maybe the story's good. Maybe the gameplay's good. There's a lot of elements that go into video games that make it good or bad. So I'm gonna do just like we did with the show. I'm gonna withhold judgment until we actually see it or play it. But I'm just nervous for Star Wars franchise. Well, maybe this is good though. I hope maybe this will be a turning point because I know now you've got George Lucas coming out. You've got J.R.R. Martin came out about like his disapproval of how things are going. What's the guy's name that created The Little Mermaid, like the original cartoon? And I think he did Aladdin too.
I have no idea.
So worked with Disney. He's come out and expressed his frustrations. So I think there's going to be a lot of heat that comes in, and those board members or the shareholders, they're not going to want all the negative stuff coming. So they're going to want
they care about money, right? That's all they care about. So hopefully that's.
But viewership's been going down, and that's going to impact their wallets. So,
well, spending $180 million on complete fucking garbage is really probably what impacts their wallets.
Well, yeah. And that's what's going to be a big potential turning point for them, I would think. 180 mil, and this is the garbage you come up with. Like, who's running the show here? All right. Oh, hey. Hello there, KG. Thanks for shouting out to us.
Kevin Garnett. Hey.
Looking forward to, in a certain way, from a certain point of view, the final episode to come out. We'll be right back here. We'll be talking about it, expressing our views and opinions. And then a lot more to come. You know, we got a lot of other shows that will be rolling out, and Star Wars isn't going anywhere. I know a lot of people are frustrated with the direction it's going, but it's not going anywhere. It might just need a pause time and reevaluate. Any final things you want to say about the Acolyte show?
Well, just kind of on that thought that you just had is, okay, we're kind of in a shitty time for Star Wars content. Like there's some nice little gems in between, like Andor, but I mean, hopefully there is a reset. Like again, I talked about like the Alien series, but the last like 3 movies from Alien have been pretty shitty. So maybe this Alien Romulus show, like, or movie, like changes that. Like Predator is a great example. They've had some shitty Predator movies, and then you had this movie Prey, which was incredible. If you haven't seen Prey, you should definitely go see that. It's on Hulu, so it's
Yeah,
free.
I want to see that. I want to see it. So many shows I gotta watch.
Dude, it's so good. It's a movie, right?
Or a movie. That's right. That's a movie.
It's an hour and a half long. It's not like a huge, time investment. But that, like, to me, is turned around that franchise that has had some duds happen. So it can be done. It's just you need the right people in place to do it.
Right.
Like another example, Dune. Like, I mean, Dune was a movie that nobody thought it could be done right. And the David Lynch 1984, I think, whatever year that came out, I mean, that movie was pretty bad, but I watched it, in 2021 or whatever. So quite a ways after that actual show happened, or the movie happened to come out. But I mean, the new movies, I mean, they're masterpieces, right? So like, you can redeem where things are. So
yeah, the new ones were like, hold my beer. We're gonna show you how we make this into a movie.
That's what we need to make a Star Wars movies. Dennis Villeneuve,
or to bring Tony Gilroy back and do another. Well, we're gonna get more Andor, and KG, I see how you capitalize all of Andor's. We're on the same boat with you there. We cannot wait for season 2 of Andor, because season 1, that's probably been my favorite Star Wars show. That was just so well executed and so well done that I cannot wait for season 2. I have full faith in that show. So, well, I'll speak to our social media handles really quick. Get the business aspect out of the way. I should probably start our episodes with that instead of end it, because probably makes more sense to do it.
Yeah, don't stick around till the end.
But yeah, you can find us on Twitter at DetBlockAA23pod, on Instagram at Detention_block_AA_23, our Facebook group and YouTube channels, Detention Block AA23, a Star Wars podcast. And now you can find us on TikTok as well at DetBlock AA23. Bring us your likes, follows, hit that subscribe button, ratings, reviews. What, you hate that sound?
I just hate that.
You're like, so cliche. It's so cliche.
Press that like button.
Hey, sometimes people need reminders, okay? It doesn't take that much effort. Just hit that subscribe button. It does a lot for us. It goes a long way. Helps us get our name out there amongst, I mean, as you've been watching all the different channels.
Ordinary and extraordinary.
What's that?
It's a little extra.
That little extra. Doesn't take much. Doesn't cost a thing either. But we
waiting.
Oh yeah.
No,
I was just talking about that movie with someone the other day. That's weird that
Oh, me.
No, it wasn't you. It was that softball. So Interesting that that movie comes up twice in like a couple of days.
Sure, I understand the steak was overcooked, but did you have to eat it all before you complained about it?
That's hilarious. Um, but yeah, we appreciate any little thing that you can do. It goes a long way for us. So, with that, any final thoughts on anything in general, Dustin?
We just need Dr. Kevorkian to come around and mercy kill this show. That's a horrible thing to say, so I take that back. But like, this show's bad.
And again, if you like it, awesome. All the power to you. It's not us. It's not our thing, but we'll still watch it. Still Star Wars. We're going to bring you that content. So, yeah. Till next time, have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you next Wednesday. And as always, may the force be with you.
Peace.
Man, you really let go the whole, and also with something at the end of all the episodes.
It's run its course.
It's run its course. Okay, then you got to figure something out, something new out. So
yeah, bye.
Okay, and that hasn't run its course.